talking to us. Perfect. So we're going to start in a seated position, coming away from lying down. We will be doing quite a bit lying down as well, actually, but thought I'd put that at the end, not at the beginning. Lovely. It's an easy seated position. Perfect. And we will do a little meditation before we start. With meditation, I'm a big believer, because it can actually be very hard. I find meditation very difficult. You can move while you're meditating. So if you're starting to struggle or you just feel a bit uncomfy, just please move. Brilliant. So when we're comfortably seated, if it feels good, you can just gently start. Let's just tap inwards. Just starting to gently focus on ourselves. And maybe you want to do that by taking your focus to your breath, or listening to one sound, or maybe doing a little body scan, or anything else at all you like that starts to bring your awareness inwards. Lovely. Now, as you're sitting here, just take stock of maybe how you're feeling. Again, not judging it, not over analysing it, but just observing, noticing how you're feeling. And then just putting that to one side, you can start to just bring a little intention to today's class. And that can be anything at all you'd like. And it can even be, I said this is quite a strong class this week, but if your intention is to focus on being kind to yourself, maybe you're a bit under the weather, then maybe your intention can be to be kind, and you can focus on modifying poses if you want to. Or your intention could be anything at all. Just having a little think about it. And noticing how it makes you feel. And at points during the session, if you start to find them a little bit more challenging, or your mind starts to wander, you can bring your focus back to that intention, back to that goal, that cause, that truest self. And now, as you're sitting there, allowing the breath to just roll over your body. You've set your intention. You've done a little bit of grounding. I'm going to encourage you guys to do the hardest thing in the world. We are going to do a silent meditation. So for 1 whole minute, I'm going to go completely quiet. And you are just going to sit in meditation, just focusing on your breath. Just sitting calmly. Wonderful. And now when we're ready, if we'd like, we're going to start to gently open our eyes, coming out of the meditation. Perfect. and we're going to start moving. So we're going to start off by, if you had your legs crossed, you can just uncross your legs and cross them the other way. Perfect. I'm just going to start with a bit of gentle hip circling. Lovely. And we're very familiar with this. As you're doing it, we just want to focus. Oh, sorry, I need to remember I'm recording myself. You guys are very familiar with it. I don't know about people at home. We want to think about keeping our seat bones on the ground and just allowing ourselves to circle round, but keeping the seat bones rooted down. And I apologize if you can hear a baby upstairs. It's bath time. He's teething at the minute and he is very, very, very grumpy. And yeah, so if you can hear him, I'm sorry. And then we're going to take that circling the other way if we haven't done so already. Lovely. Perfect. And just again, thinking about that intention, because I often can say at the beginning of yoga, a lot of instructors will, but again, at any point you can just reflect on it. And then when we're ready, oh, nice and slowly, we're going to make our way back up to center. Perfect. So we're going to now do just a little bit of gentle cat-cow while being seated. So just inhaling, arching the back, exhaling, rounding through. And if this doesn't feel particularly comfortable or you want to experiment, you can also do this in a kneeling position. Oh, I prefer that. So yogi's choice. Okay, lovely. And again, I said this last night, but thinking about core awareness, we're going to be doing a lot with the core today. Just want to focus as you exhale, just hugging the navel in, engaging the core. Perfect. And our warm-up is going to be quite quick this week. We're going to be moving quite a bit. And then when we're ready, nice and softly, we're going to make our way back to center. Perfect. So we're going to now bring ourselves onto all fours into a tabletop position. Lovely, good. And then we're going to just stretch back one leg, any one you want at all, toes tucked under. We're going to gently rock backwards and forwards, just doing that soft calf stretch. Perfect, good. And then when you're ready, if you'd like, you're going to then walk that foot out to the side. Oh, I love this stretch. As it good, only as much as you want. Perfect. And then if you want, you can gently bend your front elbows, just having a little bit of an inner thigh groin stretch. Perfect. Lovely. You might come onto your forearms or you might not. And then bringing the hands back from here, we're going to then gently and very controlled bring ourselves up so that we're kneeling, sort of. Perfect. And then we're going to inhale. Oh, I'm so in a terrible way. Sorry, guys. And then drawing the arm up, the opposite arm up. Perfect. As we exhale, lovely. We then stretch over. Perfect. Wonderful. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to take a little stretch the other way, just being careful we don't fall over. So just drawing the arm up on the leg side, that's lengthened out, and then stretching over again. Lovely. Perfect. Before then releasing the arm back down, and then we're going to bring that leg back in and come back to tabletop. Perfect. We're going to take that to the other side. I'm going to face you because that makes a lot more sense. Wonderful. So when we're ready, we're going to gently just first of all draw back that foot back behind, doing the calf stretch. I almost forgot about that then, guys. Lovely. Perfect. A little bit of pulsing or pushing through. Whatever feels good for you. And then same again, just walking that foot out to the side, only as far as you want. Perfect. And then again, just adjust any way you want. So this might be enough for stretch. You might want to come onto your forearms, or you might want to bend your elbows a little bit, whatever feels good for you. Perfect. Good. And then when we're ready, bringing ourselves upright, sugar round, wonderful. And then drawing that opposite arm up, then exhale, stretching over. Lovely. Good. And then coming back to center, and then drawing it over the other way. Wonderful. Good. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to softly release back down, bring your legs back down. Good. We're actually going to get moving now. So tucking the toes under, we're going to come into Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, bending your knees as much as you want. And we're going to actually, what we're going to do is going to then go into Surya Namaskar and do a couple of sun salutations and then get flowing from there. So it's a little bit faster paced this week. So sorry about that, guys, or maybe that's what you're after. Perfect. And then when we're ready from here, we're gonna nice and controlled either walk hands to feet or feet to hands, coming into a forward fold. Perfect, lovely. And then from here, we're going to start to walk our hands up our legs, rolling up to standing. Wonderful. And because this is a slightly more energetic class, we're going to bring a little bit of energy before we start the Surya Namaskars. And how we're going to do that is by just doing a little bit of knocking on heaven's doors, just swinging the arms, lovely. Or you might want to do a bit of just swinging like that, feel like a child on the playground. And this can just be quite fun, and it can bring a bit of energy to us before we get moving. Lovely. It's also not really home workout friendly, so I apologise if your living room is quite small. I do apologise. And then perfect. When we're ready, I'm going to start to slow that down and then come back to centre. Wonderful. So we're going to do a little modified Surya Namaskar first of all, and then we're going to go from there. So when we're ready, we're just going to inhale, scooping the arms up, nice and tall, lengthening through. Perfect. And then bringing palms together, we're going to exhale, drawing the hands down through the center line, and then folding down into a forward fold. Wonderful. Bending our knees as much as we want. And then from here, we're going to inhale into a half forward fold. Perfect. Good. And then exhaling back down, Uttanasana. Wonderful. And then from here, we're going to step back into a raised tabletop position. So we're not going to come into a high plank. We're going to come up into a raised tabletop. So keeping the knees up off the ground. Lovely. Good. Engaging that core. You're going to hold it for me for a couple more breaths if that feels okay. If not, put your knees on the ground. So we're going to hold it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lowering the knees down. Wonderful. And then any way you want, we're going to lower ourselves down onto our front. Oh, wonderful. And then any Cobra Sphinx pose you would like. So if this twinges your back a bit, you can pop your hands right out in front and very gently lift just a little bit of the chest up and the head up, or equally you can put your forearms on the ground. Wonderful. Or you come into Cobra. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to tuck the hands by our chest. Oh, and then we're going to bring ourselves back to an extended child's pose. So extended child's pose. And really, again, thinking about that energy, pressing into the fingertips, engaging through the arms, feeling that strength, that lengthening from the base of your spine all the way up to the sides of your back, up to your shoulder blades. Wonderful. And then engaging the hands, we're going to bring ourselves back up to tabletop. Perfect. And then from here, when we're in a tabletop position, we're going to tuck the toes under, and as you exhale, you're going to bring yourselves up, downward facing dog. Lovely, good. again, pedaling through. Perfect. And then we're going to either jump or walk to the front of the mat, coming into a forward fold. Lovely. And we're going to walk our hands up our legs, rolling up to standing. Perfect. So we're going to float that again, adding a bit in, but still keeping it a bit of a modified sun salutation. Perfect. So just going to front the mats into our Tadasana position. And then we're going to inhale, scooping the arms up. Reaching through fingertips, and then exhaling, swan diving forward, coming into that forward fold. Lovely. And then inhaling up to half forward fold before exhaling back down forward fold. And same again, we're going to come into that raised tabletop. So hands to the ground. We're going to step back and then keeping the knees up off the ground, raised tabletop. Engaging the core. Sometimes I think this is worse than plank. Good. That's it. That's it. And engaging the core, really pressing the mat away. Lovely. And again, in this moment, have a little think about your intention, if it's connected to this pose, if you want to change the pose in any way for your intention. Lovely. Good. And then we're going to hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then lowering down, and then we're going to release down onto our fronts. Perfect. And then any back bend position you want, we're going to inhale up, however feels good for you. Perfect. And then from here, tucking the toes under, we're going to bring ourselves up to tabletop, and then either back to child's pose or straight up to downward facing dog. Either one. Perfect. Lovely. Good. And then when we're ready from here, we're going to inhale, drawing that right foot up, 3-legged dog. And then as you exhale, scooping that knee forwards all the way through before bringing our foot down between our hands. Lovely. And we're going to come into that high lunge. So inhaling, scooping the arms up overhead. Perfect. So I'm going to bring my hands down on my hips, but you can keep your arms up overhead, or you can bring your hands to your hips, whatever you want. I'm doing it because I'm very, very sensitive female. And when I'm on my period, I faint very easily. So hands above head doesn't work. That's it. Good. Completely healthy. It's just something I do. That's it. And again, if we wish, we're going to gently do a bit of pulsing. So I would, if you have blood pressure issues or you're a fainter and you feel a bit funny, stick your hands down by your hips. That's it. Good. Perfect. Gently pulsing. Wonderful. Nice, guys. Feeling that strength. And then you're going to really hate me. So just listening to your hip flexors. We're going to softly lower that back knee, coming almost into a low lunge. Nice. And then bringing yourselves back up. Oh, that's it. Good. And then we're going to gently scoop our arms up overhead before exhaling, letting our fingers rain down to the ground. Lovely. And then we're going to bring that right foot back to 3-legged dog. Perfect. And then placing that foot down, we're going to then take that little stretch to the other side, and then we're going to get into our plank. So inhaling, scooping that left leg up. And then as you exhale, drawing that knee forward, hugging up to your chest before bringing that foot down. Wonderful, good. And then inhaling, coming up to that high lunge. Perfect. Same again, you can keep your arms above your head or hands to hips. I'm going to have mine down here. Perfect. And then gently pulsing. Lovely. And as you're doing this, that's really nice. Just keep doing it for me. Just think about keeping your spine nice and long. Wonderful, good. Core engaged. And same again. Keeping the gaze ahead. Feeling that strength in your body. We're going to start to lower that back knee if you want, almost coming into a low lunge. Wonderful, good. Keeping that strength. And then bringing that back knee back up. We're going to inhale, scooping the arms up overhead, big stretch through. And then exhale, releasing them down and making our way back to that 3-legged downward facing dog. Perfect. And then releasing that foot back down, coming into downward facing dog. So we're going to now get into our planks and a little bit of side plank, a little bit of upper body. So adjusting your hands however you want, we're going to start to roll our shoulders forwards, coming into a high plank position, engaging the core. Nice, good. And then we're going to hold it for a couple of breaths if that feels okay. Wonderful, good. And feel free to adjust at any point. So you can pop your knees on the ground. That's it. Now from here, we're very familiar with high planks. So we're going to do it any way we want. We're going to bring the left foot next to the right foot. And then you can either put the foot on the ground in front, or you can pivot onto the side of your right foot and then bring that left arm up, coming into a high plank. If that doesn't feel right, you can bring that top foot down in front. Perfect, good. But what I want you to focus on is really reaching up through your hips. That's it, nice, nice. Good. And then we're gonna, lovely. We're gonna release that top hands back down, and we're gonna bring ourselves back to a high plank. Aye, aye, aye. Nice, guys, good. And then we're gonna release the knees to the ground. Whoo! Come back to a little extended child's pose. Perfect. Nicely done. Good. Wonderful. And giving your wrists a little massage if you want. Perfect. And then we're going to come up to a tabletop position. And we're going to take that to the other side. So we're going to come straight into high plank. I'm going to swivel around. So gently tucking the toes under, engaging the core, and then save again. We're going to hold it for a couple of breaths. And if you're wanting to get a bit of energy from this, if you're wanting it to feel a little bit sweaty, a little bit challenging, okay, then you're going to just kind of lean into it. If it's starting to be a bit difficult, just lean into that, accept where you are. If, however, you're wanting to be a little bit softer today with your practice, you adapt it at any point you want. So we're going to take ourselves to that side plank again. Okay, so we're going to bring our left foot to meet our right, and then either pivoting onto the side, it's the wrong way, pivoting onto the side, or adjusting. We're going to bring ourselves up. Nice, guys, that's good, good. And what I want you to focus on doing, as you're doing it, Alex, that's really nice, that's nice, Brittany, is lifting up with that top hip. Perfect. And then we're going to release that top hand back down and come back to a high plank. Perfect. Now you're going to really hate me. Sorry. From here, as you exhale, you're going to lift your hips up and back, coming into a downward facing dog, pedaling out. Now, I do appreciate that this is quite strong on our wrists. So if your hands or wrists are starting to complain at any point, please come out of this and just take the pressure off your hands. But when we're ready, we're going to softly start to come into a raised tabletop position from our downward facing dog. So keeping toes tucked under, lowering the knees. Lovely, good. And engaging the core, perfect. And we're going to hold it for a couple more breaths. Good, good. That's it, feeling that strength. And then when you're ready from here, we're going to exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog, pedaling out. Wonderful. Nice. We're going to come up to standing for a minute, just give our wrists a break, but we are going to come back to the side planks. Okay, so we're going to gently inhale, scooping that right foot up, three-legged dog. And then as you exhale, you're going to draw that knee forwards, bringing that foot forwards. And we're going to draw ourselves up, coming up to a high lunge. Perfect, good, wonderful. And again, arms above your head if you'd like, or hands on your hips, whatever you prefer. Wonderful. And then we're going to hold it here for just a little breath. That's it. And then when we're ready, from here, we're going to draw, we're going to lift, we're going to press into our front foot. We're going to lift up that back foot, drawing that knee up in front, engaging through our glutes, lovely, finding our balance, lovely. And then incorporating that little bit of flow from yesterday, but we're going to do tree pose, not one-legged chair pose. We're going to open that knee out, and we're going to bring our foot to the side of our calf or our thigh, coming into that tree pose. Lovely balance, guys. Really nice transition. That was nice. And engaging the core. Wonderful. Perfect. And then when we're ready from here, we're going to bring that knee back up in front, and we're going to play. So again, similar to yesterday, but we're doing a different transition. We're going to play with warrior 3, if you would like, or aeroplane. So we're going to start to push back through that lifted foot, lowering the chest. And if you would like, you can keep your hands on your hips, or you can bring your arms out to the side. So this is aeroplane, a little variation of warrior 3. Perfect, good. And then when we're ready, we're going to place that back foot down, coming back in to that high lunge. Wonderful, nice. Nice. And then we're going to inhale, scooping our arms up. Oh, that's impressive. We've got someone doing it with cat as well. And then we're going to exhale, releasing the hands down to the ground. And then lovely, having a little stretch here. So we can gently kind of lean in a little bit, lifting our chest up. And then when we're ready, we're going to draw that front foot back, coming back to 3-legged downward facing dog. Perfect. And then we're going to take that to the other side in a second. But first of all, we're going to pop that foot on the ground, coming into downward facing dog. And then we're going to do just a couple of little hip dips in downward facing dog. So just keeping that core engaged, we're going to start to scoot our hips right over to the left, to the right hand side, and we're going to start to lower them down. So we can feel a stretch through the left side of our body. Perfect, nice. And then we're going to bring the hips back up to center, pedaling through, and then we're going to take that to the other side. So scooching the hips down to the left hand side, feeling that stretch through the right hand side. Perfect. Engaging the core and then bringing the hips back up to center. Wonderful. And then we're going to inhale, lifting that left foot up, 3-legged dog. Or the other foot you haven't done yet. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to hug that knee forwards and bring that foot down, coming into that lunge. Perfect. So we're taking the flow onto the other side now. And then drawing the arms up. Wonderful. Perfect. And again, yes, it perfect. And then holding it here for a breath. And as you're doing that's a nice lunge, guys. We want to have the weight evenly distributed between our back foot and our front foot. So if your front thigh feels like it's taking a lot more of the weight, or your back hips crying at you, adjust your position, your weight, so it's a little bit more even. Wonderful. And then when we're ready from here, we're going to come into that tree pose wonderfully slowly. So placing our weight into that front foot, we're going to bring that back foot up, holding that knee in front. Lovely transition, guys. Opening the knee out, we're going to bring that sole of foot to the calf or thigh, coming into tree pose. Lovely and balanced. Perfect. Keeping the gaze ahead, keeping that control. Wonderful. And then we're going to gently bring that knee back in front. So we're going to play with that warrior 3 or aeroplane pose, whatever you prefer. So keeping the spine nice and long, core engaged. Really pushing through that lifted heel. We're going to start to lower our chest down, bringing the back foot back behind. Pushing through. Lovely. Perfect, guys. Really nice, Brittany, lovely. And then from here, placing that back foot back behind, coming into that lunge. Wonderful. Before then, drawing the arms up, feeling that lengthening, that purpose. And then exhaling, and as we let our hands drift down, we can almost just kind of wriggle our fingers so that our hands really are raining down to the ground, taking a little stretch here, like we're about to run against Mo Farah. Perfect. Good. And nice, guys. And then when we're ready, from here, we're going to kick back that foot, three-legged downward facing dog. And that little juicy downward facing dog mini flow we did just a second ago, and I place that foot down, four-legged dog. I'm going to do it again, but we're going to spice it up a little bit for those that want to. And this is quite strong. I find this very hard. So when we're ready, we're going to start to gently lower our hips down to the right-hand side. And as you'll do it, I forgot to say it before, guys, lift your heels up, and you're going to pivot so that your toes face the long side of your mat. And then from here, if you'd like, you're going to inhale, drawing that right hand up. Wonderful, guys. Nice. Nice. So it's kind of like a side plank, a little bit different. Good. Engaging the core. Perfect. And then releasing that hand down, swinging the hips back up, and then taking them straight over to the other side, lifting the heels up, pivoting. And then again, drawing that hand up, really reaching through the fingertips. I like to have a little wriggle with my fingers. I don't know why. It's like jazz hands. Perfect. And then bringing that hand back down, drawing yourself back up, downward facing dog. Now from here, if it's feeling good for everyone, we're going to come back into our side planks once more on our plank. And then we're going to give our wrists a break, but then we will come back to it again. So gently, we're going to start to roll our shoulders forwards, bringing them on top of our wrists, coming into that high plank. Perfect. Good. And engaging that core, pushing into the heels. Really feel that purpose in your body. You're doing brilliantly. Feel that purpose, that strength. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, from here, we're going to come into a side plank on the right-hand side. So bringing the left foot next to the right, pivoting, and then drawing that arm up, not being afraid to use the top foot as a kickstand. Lovely, nice, guys. Lifting the hips up, engaging that core. Perfect. And then releasing that hand back down. Wonderful. And then we're going to take that to the other side this time, if that's okay. So pivoting on to the other side. And again, using that top foot as a kickstand. Really reaching up through that top hip. Perfect. And then releasing that top hand back down, coming back into that high plank. Wonderful. And then we're going to lower the knees to the ground nice and wide. Whew. Sinking down into an extended child pose. Oh, perfect. And then nice and slowly walking hands to knees. We're going to bring ourselves up to a kneeling position. And I forgot to say, feel free to grab a drink. I'm grabbing a drink. So we're going to come. You don't have to grab a drink. You absolutely have to, but you absolutely can as well. I saw Brittany go to grab the bottle. I was like, oh, yeah. Grab drinks, water, whatever you want. So we're going to give our wrists a little break for a minute. We're going to focus a little bit on boat pose. And then we're going to come up to standing to just play a little bit with our chair pose and our goddess pose before bringing it to the ground. So boat pose we're very familiar with. Perfect. So when we're ready, lengthening through the spine. So you can either grab your backs of your thighs as you do this, or you don't have to, but we're going to gently lift our heels up off the ground. Perfect. Good. Wonderful. Lovely. Keeping core engaged. And if you would like, you can start to push one foot away, draw that knee back, and then push the other away as slowly as you want. Perfect. You're going to keep doing that for me. If that feels good, I'm going to watch and grab a drink. Sorry. I feel like the personal trainer is watching. That's it. Perfect. Nice, guys. And again, this is a good time to have a little think about that intention. If you had one that you set, whenever, you know, I try to do that in yoga, I frequently can't think of one. So if you don't have one, don't worry. Lovely. And we're going to keep going for just another 5 more minutes. I'm joking. There we go. Perfect. Nicely done, guys. And then when we're ready, really good, we're going to softly release. Woo. Knees down. I'm just going to allow our knees go out to the side. And you can bring feet together and you can come into a little cobbler's pose. Just allowing yourself to relax forwards, or equally you can bring your knees together and you can just hug your knees. Whatever feels good for you. Perfect. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, we're going to bring ourselves back up to center. Sorry, I have the beagle with me again. And we're going to do that boat pose once more. Okay, and this time we're going to add to it a little bit. So we're going to play with it. We're going to do a little boat pose flow. And your feet can touch the ground whenever you want. But we'll think about not doing it unless you want to. So when we're ready, any way you want to, we're going to come up into that boat pose. Perfect. Engaging the core, lovely. And you can stretch out through your hands. I'm holding my thighs just because my poor little stomach. That's it. But equally, you can reach to your fingers or you can hug your thighs, whatever you want. Lovely. And then if you would like, we're going to start to pedal. Nice and gently. Or if that doesn't feel good for you, we're going to gently just stay here. It's worth noting as well, I sometimes feel a bit of pressure on my lower back or my back when I do this. If that happens, just adjust the pose so it doesn't hurt anymore and don't feel any pressure. Because that might be your body telling you that it's just not right for you at that moment. Lovely. Now from here, this is our little flow. If you would like, keeping your foot up off the ground, so this is a bit of balance, Bobby, you're going to grab a hold of your toes or your foot with your hands, sorry guys, and then you can start to open your feet out to the side. Nicely done, bending your knees as much as you want. If that doesn't really good, oh, sorry, that does happen, are you okay? I think it's good, that does happen. That's it, perfect. There's always, it's worth noting when we do this, this is little variation. There's always, every class I do this in, someone falls backwards because it just takes you by surprise. That's it, good. And then from here, we're going to softly release, come back into that boat pose. Now you're going to really hate me. We're going to do it again once more. So from here, finding the outside of your foot or your big toe, kind of hook, and then gently holding it. And this is quite playful. It's quite fun. Nice. Lovely, guys. Good. And then from here, really nice, softly releasing. The dog is in the way, sorry. We're going to come into a gentle cobbler's position, so just bringing feet together. Oh, and folding forwards. Perfect. Lovely. And then from here, we're going to gently just hug our knees in together in front. And then just stretching the feet out. We're going to do a little dandasana, so just drawing feet together, pushing through heels, arms either side, lovely. Perfect. And then there's no glamorous way to get you to do this, sorry. We're going to make our way back into a tabletop position to bring ourselves up to standing to do some final poses before we make our way onto the ground. So we're going to come back into a tabletop position. Sorry, I didn't have us doing anything fancy for that. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, from here, we're going to nice and gently exhale up to downward facing dog. Oh, lovely. Feeling that lightness in your body. And from here, we're going to roll into a high plank. You may be going, oh, not this again. Rolling into a high plank. Perfect. Lovely. And engaging the core. Wonderful. We're going to hold it for a couple more breaths. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, from here, as we exhale, we're going to draw our hips up and back, coming back up to downward facing dog. Pedaling through. Wonderful. Just feeling that strength, that power in your bodies. And then one last time, we're really almost done with the planks. We're going to roll our shoulders forwards again, coming back into that high plank. And we are going to say hello for one last time to side plank. So we're very familiar with it now, bringing the left foot to meet the right or any way you want. And you can adjust, so you can bring that right hand a little bit more into the middle. We're going to then pivot onto our side. Lovely, nice guys, nice. And bringing that top knee over the top of one, perfect, good. Reaching through, lovely. Engaging that core and then releasing that top hand down, pivoting round. We're going to then take it to the other side. So walking that left foot in a little bit, left hand a little bit more into the middle, pivoting over, and then reaching up. Engaging the core, stretching through those top fingertips. Ooh, had a wobble. Perfect. And then bringing that top hand down, coming back to that high plank. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to lift the hips up and back. Woo! And you can say goodbye to side planks for the evening. Going to come back to downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to walk either hands to feet or feet to hands, coming into a forward fold. Lovely. And then we're going to walk our hands up our legs, rolling up to standing. Perfect. We'll just do a little bit. We've got about 5 more minutes, then we're going to start to cool down. So coming into Tadasana, we're going to exhale into Uttanasana chair pose. So as you exhale, drawing your arms up overhead, coming down into that squat. Perfect. So you can have your hands on your hips as well if you prefer. I'm going to do that. Lovely. Good. And again, thinking about yesterday, if you'd like, you can lift your heels up and then squat a little bit lower. If you wouldn't, you do not have to. Perfect. And then from here, we're going to come back up to standing, and then we're going to step our feet out into a wide-legged pose. You know what's coming. We're going to come into goddess pose, so pointing the toes out a little bit. And then as we exhale out, we're going to squat down. Perfect. Now, we're going to do goddess pose with a little bit of movement. So if it feels good for you, you're going to gently start to open your chest to the right, and you're going to bring the left elbow down to the inner thigh. Perfect. Opening the chest, but not leaning. And then we're going to scoot back over to the other side. Perfect, good. And then back over. Lovely. And then if you would like to make it really fancy, we're going to scoot ourselves over, and then you can stretch that opposite arm over. This is a little bit aerobic-y, sorry. And then bring ourselves over to the other side, and then stretch that arm over. As you're doing this, if that feels good, just keep doing it for me, guys. I'm going to stop while I talk to you. As you're doing it, that's nice. You want to focus on keeping your spine. You're going to be a little bit forward because you're opening, but keeping the spine nice and long as you do it. And almost imagining, that's it, perfect. You're drawing the tailbone under. So we're going to keep doing it for a few more breaths. Lovely, good. Feeling that strength, thinking about that little intention if you had one. Perfect. And then when we're ready, we're going to bring our hands back to center, keeping that goddess pose squat. Lovely, sorry. Perfect. And then inhaling, back up standing, and then walking the feet in together. We're going to come into Uttanasana. So as you exhale out, scooping the arms up and over, lowering down into Uttanasana, chair pose. Perfect, good. Lovely. And again, thinking about that twist and that rotation, we're going to bring our hands to our heart center, to our Anjali Mudra. And then if it feels good, you can start to open your chest towards one side, any side you like. And then just open your arms out, stretching through your fingertips. Perfect, good. If that doesn't feel good, just stay in chair pose or come into forward fold, get a cup of tea, whatever you'd like, lovely. And then bringing the hands back to Anjali Mudra, back to center. And then we're gonna open the chest, the other side, opening the arms out. Wonderful, I'm gonna come out of it. Perfect, good. And then coming back to center if you'd like. Lovely. And then if you would like, we're going to do that once more. So you can take breaks at any point you want, or breathers. So we're going to flow through that once more, and you're going to do that at your own time. Okay. So own time, lovely. There's no set time on this. You're going to just do it your way. Perfect. Because that is a lot on your legs. So you'll want to come out of it at points, and you're not going to both come out of it at the same time. Lovely. Wonderful. We're going to almost make it to the floor. Perfect. And then when we're ready, we're going to bring ourselves back to center. Whew. And then we're going to exhale down to a forward fold. Whew, wonderful. We're done. We're done with our legs. We're making our way down. We're heading down. We're doing a couple more things before cool down. So nice and gently, keeping our feet, hands on the ground. We're going to step back with our feet coming into downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to lower the knees down and then walking our hands back to our knees, coming into a kneeling position. Perfect. If you want anything for Shavasana, you might want to grab that just now and then just have it at hand near you. Because we're going to make our way onto our backs now. We're not, similar to last week, we're not going to do a huge amount of stretching to cool off. We're going to do a couple more core exercises on our back, core poses, and then we're going to cool down on our back. So if you want anything at all, you can just grab that and pop it next to you. Perfect. When we're ready, we're going to make our way down onto the cool mat, feeling that embrace, or cool ground. Wonderful. So we're going to do just a little bit of core awareness. So for this, we're going to do a little bit of toe taps. I like to have my hands under my lower back for this. So you can put your hands basically kind of under your coccyx, or maybe a little bit lower underneath your bum. But I quite like to do that, or equally you can have your hands by your side. And then when you feel comfortable, we're going to draw our knees up so that they are roughly over our hips. Now this is very good for core awareness, but it can be quite a lot on our lower back. So if it feels too much, you can hug your knees in a bit closer to make it, if you feel a little bit supported, and don't take your feet as far out, okay? So all we're going to start to is very gently, one at a time, you're going to lower one foot out, stretching it out, and then bringing that knee back up, and then taking it to the other side. And if it feels too much, and trust me, sometimes these exercises feel way too much for me, then just hug that knee in closer, both knees in closer, and don't take the feet as far out. Or equally, you can put one foot on the ground as you do it, lower one down, bring that back up, and then swap sides, okay? If that makes sense. Lovely. If, however, you'd like a little bit more of a challenge, I don't actually know if I can demonstrate this, you can stretch both feet out, woo, and then bring both feet up, okay? So there's different ways of doing this. Lovely, good. And also, there's no rule to say you have to do one. You can play between all the different variations. Wonderful. So we're going to keep doing this for a few more breaths. Just really connecting to that core, that center. And feeling that purpose. We don't want to be in pain. We don't want any burning. Just want to feel aware. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, perfect. We're going to keep going for a few more breaths. Wonderful. And then when we're ready, we're going to bring our knees back up to center. And we're going to finish off with a couple of, we call them yogic bicycles, but they're crunches. So keeping the knees up if that feels okay. If that doesn't, pop your feet on the ground, have a little breather. We're going to gently bring our hands behind our head, interlacing the fingers. And you guys will be very familiar with bicycles. You're going to just gently push your right foot out, draw your left knee towards your right elbow, lifting the right elbow up, and then taking it to the other side. Perfect, good. Wonderfully controlled. And if this, keep going for me, but again, if it hurts your back or it feels too much, there's a fine line, we want it to be fun. Then come into those toe taps, or equally, just come out and have a little rest. Wonderful. So we're going to keep going for a few more breaths. That's really nice and controlled, guys. Really nice and controlled. Perfect. And we're going to keep going for, I say 5 more breaths. Whoa, quite a while. We're going to keep going for 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to just hug our knees into our chest. And then just softly release your feet down to the ground. We're coming into our cool down stage. So just, you might have built up a little bit of sweat during today's practice, a bit of energy. Just really allow the soles of your feet to connect to the earth. Allow your body to relax down. And when we think about work and strength and exercise, rest is equally as important. And this is our moment of rest. And then very gently, being mindful of your body, you can softly just allow your knees to move like windscreen wipers, very slowly. And then taking it into a nice mindful stretch. You can have your arms out, almost your hands parallel with your shoulders. And then you can allow your knees to lower down to one side or almost to one side, doesn't matter. And then keep them there for a couple of breaths. Feeling that gentle stretch through your back, through your stomach. Perfect. And then if you've done that, you can bring the knees up to center and then just allow them to fall onto the other side. Wonderful. And again, just relaxing into it. Being present. And then we're going to very softly bring our knees back up to center. And then very gently, we're going to inhale, scooping the arms up to the sky, and then just stretching the hands back behind your back. And then allowing your arms to cactus out. Just allowing your arms to stay there for a breath. It's a gentle stretch. Perfect. And then when we're ready, softly releasing the arms down by our side. So we're going to do a little reclined pigeon pose. So we're going to just take a hold of our left leg, and you can just stretch that leg up for a moment, pushing through the heel if you want, having a little hamstring and calf stretch. Lovely. And then we're going to bring that ankle on top of the other thigh and drawing it up with our hands if you want. We're going to come into that reclined pigeon. Wonderful. Nice, guys. And breathing into it. And then when we're ready, we're going to softly release that reclined pigeon. So just uncrossing that leg, hugging that knee in for a moment. And then we're going to release that foot down and take it to the other side. So stretching that other leg up. Wonderful. Same again, pushing through the heel if you'd like, having a little hamstring stretch, little calf stretch. And then if you'd like, so you're more than welcome to stay here if that's what feels good. Or if you'd like, you can bring your ankle to the top of your thigh, top of your other thigh, and then just scooping that leg up with your hands, coming into that reclined pigeon, if that feels good. Lovely. And holding it there for as long as you'd like. And I'm very sorry I have overran, so if you do need to go, feel free to. Perfect. And then we're going to softly release our foot and unfurl our leg. And we're going to do one last little glute stretch, just because I think that would be quite nice for our legs. So you're going to gently just cross your right leg over your left. And then if it feels good for you, keeping your shoulders on the ground, using your top leg, you're going to start to draw that top knee down towards the opposite side. So drawing that left knee down towards the right hand side. Perfect. Lovely. And then breathing into it. And again, just thinking about the present moment, about how your body feels, how your mind feels. And then slowly drawing the knees back up to center. We're going to unfurl our legs before then taking it to the other side. So crossing the other leg over, can't remember which one, sorry guys. And then bring that top knee down to the opposite side. Perfect. Well, that's a nice crack from my back that happened then. And breathing into it. And if you're feeling any pressure on your shoulders or your back, just bring your knees up. You can grab some pillows to pop under your knees. Lovely. And then very gently, we're going to start to draw the knees back up. We're going to unfurl and we're going to head into Shavasana. So you might want to keep your knees bent. You might want to, can't believe I'm going to say this, grab a blanket. It is getting cooler. You might want to just stay where you are and just stretch your feet out to the corners of your mat, just spreading out. Really allowing everything to relax. And just bringing your awareness to your stomach, to the core of your body. And just allow your stomach to relax. And then allow that release, that softness to travel out from your stomach down through your hips, hip flexors, thighs, knees, all the way down through your legs to the tips of your toes. And that softness is also spreading up through your stomach, your back, all the way through your shoulders, arms, to the crown of your head, the tip of your nose, the tips of your fingers. Allowing everything to just spread and release. Wonderful. And as you're lying there, if you haven't done so already, you can softly close your eyes and just bask in this moment. And again, one final time, just having a little think of that intention that you set at the beginning of the session. Just reflecting on it. Noticing if you stuck by it or if you made adaptations. Noticing if it worked for you. And then we're going to gently just let it go. Let it go from our mind. And let every worry or stress or unnecessary thought that isn't serving you just float away. And if it comes back again, you're just going to exhale and release it out of your body. Relaxing down into the heat of your body and into the coolness of the earth beneath you. And as you're lying there, I'm going to go quiet for a little moment so that you can relax into it. Now, if you'd like, you are more than welcome to stay in Shavasana. Or if you prefer, you can start to gently start moving and stretching any way you would like. You might like to hug your knees into your chest and give yourself a glorious big bear hug, or you might want to do a bit of happy baby, grabbing a hold of your big toes or your feet and rocking side to side and kicking and stretching out and feeling that soft energy. You might feel a little more awake after the session, or you might feel quite a bit more mellow. Both are normal. When we're ready, for those who'd like to, we're going to make our way up to an easy seated position, bringing the practice to a close. So if you'd like, you can join me. I'm going to bring my hands to Anjali Mudra, to my heart center, up to my third eye, back down to my heart center. And thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. Hope you enjoyed connecting to your core and you feel energized and awake and strong, or well rested. And hope you have a beautiful rest of the week. Thank you. Bye.